Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Edema Flu. I'm going to be your host now and forever and forevermore. So it has been a really long time since I've done a video. There's so many reasons for that. So there's a lot of reasons for that. I have actually filmed about 3 or 4 videos explaining and just kind of give an update, but after thinking about it, I realized that it's in my best interest not to go into it right now. I will say this. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I really am happy to see you here, and I hope that you enjoy this video. The premise of this video is just talking about 10 things that I've learned over the past year or so. I was gonna do this in a reflection form, like taking a bunch of videos and photos that have come collected over the year. But honestly, I just am not in the place to do that right now. So the way I'm gonna do this video is just talk. Hopefully I have enough energy after filming to upload it with very minimal editing, because I really just don't have it in me to do everything that is required to do the kind of video that I would like. But I do feel it is important for me to start filming again, even if it's not to the full capacity that I am used to and would like to. So that being said, the reason I'm being cryptic and vague about why I haven't been filming and why I kind of disappeared is just because I suffered a pretty severe injury on March 16th of this year. If you know me in person, if you know me in real life, or you were there when it happened, you know about it, so there's no reason to go into it. I took the time that was given to me off to recover from the injury, and I thought that was it. I thought everything was fine, but it's not. So that being said, I had to cancel my summer, hence the name of the title, and pretty much everything has just, for a moment, everything was going horrible. But now that I've taken the time to rest like I should have done from the beginning, I see why everything was going crazy. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I am currently waiting to be seen by a neurologist. That's where I'm at with my injury, and that's all I'll say about that for now. So that being said, because of this injury that occurred on March 16th, my life has pretty much taken a 180 again. But one thing about me is I'm used to this happening. I'm used to things not going as planned. I'm used to trying to do something and then it doesn't work out, and then trying something else. But something I'm not used to is this, just sitting here and resting and not doing anything, because that is honestly just what I need to do right now because of the injury that I suffered. There's no treatment, there's no anything besides really just resting. But anyway, let's go into some things that I've learned over the past year or so. I want to say past year or so because it hasn't exactly been a year. And let me see what time or what day it is. Today is Monday, July 4th. I will be turning 31 in 6 days. I'm really excited about that. Last year, this time, I was in Hawaii. It was a very interesting experience. It was bittersweet. There were some really good moments and there were some really bad moments, but overall, I learned a lot throughout that trip. Um, I'm really excited to share with you right now. So I'm going to stop talking and get into the points. One of the first things that I've learned in this past year was never celebrate too early, okay? If you know me in person, I was supposed to be in Costa Rica right now. This would have been my second day there. I was supposed to be living off the grid, on a work exchange, on a farm. I had all of my tickets ready. I had everything booked. Me and the hosts were communicating back and forth. I was so excited. And literally the day before, well, not even the day, but the whole week, even 2 weeks before going, like I said, I've been having some problems, and I was advised to go and get seen by a doctor because obviously something's not right. And that's what I did. And unfortunately, it meant that I couldn't go on this trip. I bought my tickets for this, I believe, mid-February or late February. Everything was planned, everything was set in stone. I just recently bought the last ticket that I needed, like literally less than 7 days ago. And I'll talk about the trip and everything in a different video, but the reason I say never celebrate too early is because never celebrate too early. I was so excited, you know, I was telling everyone, well, not telling everyone, but telling the people that I spoke to on a regular basis. And also some days I was just so excited. I was just counting down. So I would tell someone, and the problem with that is if it doesn't work out, then you have to tell all these people and explain, and I don't even have the energy to do that. So this video is also going to be helpful for that. So never celebrate too early because anything could happen. The second thing I've learned, which I learned this last year, but I should have really stopped. I should have just learned, but now I know for sure. Anytime you're buying a ticket, anytime you're planning a trip, especially if there's more than 2 months, even I would even say at this point, even especially if you're planning with a month plus in advance, get insurance. Get insurance if it's possible. Get insurance, and also think about the possibility that it may not work out. Because in my case, since I waited last minute to buy some of this last ticket, I couldn't get a refund back in cash. I could only get a credit, which is fine because this trip has just been postponed. It hasn't been canceled. And my tickets, also, it's the same thing. I didn't get insurance to get a refund, so it's just credits, meaning whenever I'm ready and cleared by a doctor to fly and all of that, I will be going right back to this place that I was going to go to. So yes, if you're traveling, if you're flying, if you're planning any trip, please, and you watch this video, get insurance, because you know, never know what could happen. And this leads into my third point. Always save up money for a rainy day, or if possible, pay your rent off, even if it's just 1 month in advance, 2 months in advance. Like if you can do prepayments of any kind, do it. I did that this is my first time having an apartment where I'm paying a lease, and I didn't need like a cosigner, and it wasn't through like a university. Like this is my legit first time having an apartment where it's in my name. I have internet in my name, that kind of thing. Ooh, that reminds me, I need to go and change my license. So that being said, if you can, pay any bill, anything that you can pay the second that you have it, because You could get injured, something could happen, and the last thing you want to worry about is where you're going to have to get money from to pay your bills. Thankfully, for a completely different reason, I already had some of my stuff paid off in advance because I knew I was going to be traveling, and I knew that when I came back, I might not want to go to work for another, right away, because it's going to take me a second to collect my stuff, and I wanted to go and see my dad too. But because everything was kind of paid off, I have a lot of breathing room while I can figure this situation that I'm in right now. So if you're watching this and if you have any extra money and you don't have and you really don't have to use that money for something, use it to pay some of your rent down in advance. Like, not set it aside, but actually go online and make a prepayment. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with your light bill, your electricity bill, anything you can pay in advance, pay it at least as many months in advance as you can. So I think that was I don't know which point that was, but I know I mentioned it. I think that was point number 4. Yeah, right? Always get refundable tickets. Pay as much as you can in advance. Don't celebrate too early. I think that was point number 3. So point number 4, let's see. Point number 4. I've heard this saying so many times, but now I fully understand. And your health is literally your wealth, like, for real. I'm someone who has been sick before, and have had to, deal with doctors and stuff like that. But it was when I was younger, so I didn't really have responsibilities or anything like that besides like school, and your parents would just call you out, that kind of stuff. But now that I'm older, I'm starting to see, especially since I'm like out here by myself, I'm starting to see that you have to be healthy in order to be able to operate at your full capacity. Because, when you're younger, you don't have that many responsibilities unless you're unfortunate and have had to deal with a lot of trauma, and, you have to grow up fast. But even still, you don't have all these things that are depending on you. So in my case, everything in my life was going perfect for the first time. School was going perfect, work was going perfect, everything with my friends, my family was pretty much going perfectly. There was a few bumps in the road, but everything was pretty perfect. But then once you get injured, or you're sick, that's when everything has the potential to go left. So what I've learned through all of this is your health is your wealth. If you're not healthy, the rest of your life is going to suffer. So sometimes if you need to take a day, do it. If you're not feeling good, do not push yourself. Don't push yourself, because you're going to end up having to pay for it in the end. And I'm not saying be lazy or like, yourself. If you're pushing yourself too much, if you're being lazy, because burnout is a real thing. Like, I've been working since I was 16, either always had 2 jobs and was in school full time. So even up until then, I had dropped down to part-time and I was working part-time, but at first I was in school full time and I was working part-time, and now I'm not in school and I'm not working, and it's just because I can't. So your health is your wealth, because as much as I want to get out there and I want to go to work and I want to go to school, I physically cannot. I can't. So, which is why I'm filming this video in my bed, and if I film any more videos in my bed, you understand why. Even as I'm filming this video, I'm starting to get a little worn out. So I'm just gonna wrap it up. I wanted to make this 10 points, but it seems like I'm only gonna be able to get through 5 of them. So let's see. The 5th point that I have to make is, oh yeah, this is something that I learned also in New Orleans, and it's kind of starting to come to fruition here. I don't think that's the right word, but it's starting to really sink in. Is like, you really have to put yourself first in this life. You really do. Especially if you don't really have, you're living somewhere and you're away from your core people that you know really have your back and have what's your best interest at heart. I was so set on going on this trip that I pretty much ignored everyone that was telling me otherwise. But at work, they had this one of my supervisors who I actually didn't like him when I first started working with him. I just thought that he was really insensitive, and the way he spoke to people, I just thought it was just wrong. And I don't know, he just rubbed me the wrong way. But through working with him, and hold on one second. Sorry about that. Just had to get something real quick. What was I saying? Yeah, so pretty much from working with him and just I starting to, I guess, understand where he was coming from. And also just by having, because I'm someone who's very straightforward, very direct. So anytime he would say something and it would rub me the wrong way, I would just tell him straight up, like, you need to watch the way you talk to people. Like, it's just, I would just be straight up. And then I realized, okay, I was taking some things personally and I could have been overreacting a little bit. So we just had that conversation, and pretty much ever since then, every shift has gotten better. So I say this to say, if it wasn't for a conversation that we had on like the 25th or the 26th, I would actually be in Costa Rica right now, and it would have not been in my best interest. But after sharing with him a lot of what has been going on in my life ever since I got hurt, he pretty much said, if I were you, I would not be going on this trip, and I would not be taking no for an answer. Like, you have to take care of yourself. Like, you're going to be in another country speaking with it where they speak another language, and even though I understand Spanish and I speak it, I understand better than I speak it, but I also still don't understand it 100%. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, there's a lot. That's an added challenge on top of the challenges that I'm having, and I really would be somewhere where I don't know anyone. So, and then also flying. I didn't even think about flying. I would have had to take a plane from here to Charlotte, then from Charlotte to San Jose, spend a night in San Jose in Costa Rica, and then fly from there to my final destination. So that's 3 planes, and then walk for maybe 30 to 40 minutes through the forest to get to where I was gonna go. And like I said in some of my previous videos, I don't know if I'll ever put those out, but my dad told me from the day that I got hurt that I need to just cancel everything. But of course I didn't listen. Who listens to their parents when they tell them not to do things that are fun, like one of my friends said. But after I had this conversation with my supervisor, it really hit home, and I could see and I could just feel from the conversation that we were having that he genuinely did care. He genuinely does care, and he genuinely did want me to do what's best for me and what's in my best interest. And that is really rare that you meet people like that, because a lot of people that I've met are self-serving, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I'm not that kind of person. I always want to be there for others and help others, and I tend to put other people first more, which is why I usually end up getting hurt. But um, I've learned to kind of navigate that. I'm still working on that. And just to end this video, because I'm really getting tired, yes, you have to put yourself first, always. You really, really, really do. You always have to put yourself first. And I always heard this, and this is something that I feel like a lot of, I don't even feel, I know, I see, I hear a lot of YouTubers and people on the internet saying this, but it's true. And you have to put yourself first. You do. Because if you don't put yourself first, nobody else will, unless they happen to really care about you or find you valuable enough that they want what's best for you because you add value to their life. So they want you to be okay, and vice versa. So this supervisor, I'm telling y'all, like, I really did not have, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't really have any respect for him at first. And when I would see him at work, I was just so annoyed. Like, I just would, ugh. I was just like disgusted by his energy. But, I even went up to him one day and said, you know what? I have to say this. I wasn't really sure about you at first, but at the end of the day, I have gained, and I do have a lot of respect for you, because his work ethic, even though it's difficult for him to control his emotions sometimes, and he does kind of get out of pocket, that's typically only when things are crazy. And if you've worked at this job, you will understand. But at the end of the day, he treats everybody the same way. He's super professional, and he does everything by the book. And that can be annoying, especially when you're working with people who don't do stuff like that. So once I realized that's what it is, I was able to look at things from a lens. So honestly, the best decision I made was just telling him how I was feeling and what has been going on in my life, and just taking the advice, even though my dad already gave me this advice, So, yeah, the last thing that I want to end this video with is just something that I'm working on, and maybe somebody else is also working on too. And maybe you have some advice or some tips or any kind of, I don't know, something you can relate to on this. Like, I've learned the number one reason why I always get into these like really crazy situations is because I allow people into my life before I get to identify whether they are going to create problems for me or add value to my life. And by the time I realize what kind of person they are, it's usually after I formed an emotional connection with them. And at that point, it's very difficult to break the connection, even if you do start to notice things that will kind of make you question whether this person should be in your life or not. So something I'm working on, and it's hard for me because I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially if they treat me well in the beginning stages. But what I've learned is it takes a long time to really get to know who someone is. Like, it usually takes about 8 months to a year, and you have to go through things to see who they are and what their mentality is. So at first I would really just ignore red flags, like they say. When I would ignore the red flags, meaning I would just like, whatever, I noticed this and I'm just gonna keep going. But now I've gotten to the point where I notice the red flags, I'm not gonna make any excuse for it. I'm also not gonna call you out on it. I'm just gonna adjust my presence in your life accordingly. So it has been very difficult, but I notice I'll never have to do this again if I get to know people before I allow them into my life, And what makes it kind of difficult is I don't have social media besides YouTube. So when I do meet people and I do feel like we vibe, I will tend to give them my phone number, and then we communicate that way. But that is actually really personal and very close, So ironically, I'm thinking in certain cases it's better to have social media or another number that's not associated with your cell phone number if you're like me and choose not to use social media, so people can connect with you but they don't actually have your personal phone number. But yeah, that's something I'm working on right now, identifying people that are going to be problematic or who are going to be valuable before I allow them into my life or make any future plans with them. You know, you need to really get to know people for who they are. So I'm hoping this video won't need too much editing. I'm exhausted just from filming this. Um, I apologize for not being able to go into the details surrounding everything I'm dealing with right now. It's just because of the circumstances of the injury. It's not in my best interest to talk about it. I may have actually said too much, but I don't think so. Anyways, thank y'all so much for watching this video. I will see y'all next time, and yeah, see y'all soon.